Here is a copy of the facsimile edition of Veronica number 28, which came out in 1993, published by Archie Comics. This is the second in Archie's series of facsimile editions. The first one I reviewed in a previous video of Betty and Me number 16, which was from the 1960s. This is a more recent comic. It's from 1993, like I said. And I think the reason they reprinted this issue is because of the cover, sort of the good girl art of Dan DeCarlo here. I don't have a copy of the original issue, but it looks very much like it would. They've gotten rid of the barcode here, the UPC, so I don't know if they just filled it in, what was missing, or if they had the original artwork to work from, or what. Because the original art might have not had a space there, or it might have, I don't know. Now, preview images of this comic had the original cover price here, which was like $1.25 or something like that. And now the Betty and Me facsimile did have the original 12 cents cover price on the front, which I thought was odd because, when you have it on the shelf, somebody's going to want it for 12 cents, obviously. So they'd have, the actual prices on the back cover, on the where the barcode's at. Now this one doesn't show that, but this one they did put the actual price on the front because I think they probably realized, gee, if this is on the shelf with the original cover price unchanged, and it's easy just to change that. Nobody's going to know the difference to the actual cover price. Then retailers will be able to sell it properly. This is the fine print on the first page where it says Archie Facsimile Edition number 2, Veronica number 28. So this is interesting how they're doing this with making it a series. So that way collectors and bibliographers and stuff can kind of keep it all in one column, one pile. Whereas Marvel and DC, the facsimiles, you just have to, I guess, slot them in where they would go in the originals as sort of replacements for the originals or substitutes for the originals. I always thought, though, it would have been interesting if they had just said, say, like DC Facsimile Edition number 1, DC Facsimile, and maybe have that as Action Comics number 1, and then, number 2, number 3, and so on. And that way, if you just wanted to collect the facsimile editions, you could just keep all those together, But, and you would know what order they came out because it would say inside what issue number it is. Now, by the time this issue came out, well before this issue came out, I had stopped following not only Archie Comics, but pretty much all current comics. I did read Archie Comics in 1984, 1985. I kind of stopped around 1986 for some reason. And I think it's probably because all the stuff that was going on at DC at that time in 1986 was so much more exciting. I just didn't have the money to follow what was happening at Archie, which seemed less interesting by that point. Because when I was following Archie in 1984, 1985, 1986, they published a lot of adventure titles. And they were doing Katie Keene, Hit Her Own Comic, although that did continue for a while. When I stopped buying it around issue number 16 or something like that. So when Veronica got her own comic, I never bought it. I think that premiered around 1988, 1989. Years later, though, around 2002 or so, I did start buying the Archie comics regularly. And I have a subscription, which is why I have a copy of this. I've mentioned that in my previous videos. And you can go see my previous videos about all this. Archie Comics offers subscriptions to their classic Archie one-shots because they don't publish really any ongoing monthly regular series anymore. But they do regularly publish one-shots and miniseries. And some of these one-shots are of the Archie classic characters. And one of the cool things is when you subscribe like this, sometimes you get the comics early, which is the case here. I got this in the mail on September 16th. I'm recording 2024. I'm recording this on September 18th. And the comic actually doesn't come out until next week, next Wednesday, September 25th. So I got it over a week early, which is pretty cool because you get to see what it's like before everybody else does. Um, but anyways, I thought this was really nicely done. It looks like it would be. It's on nicer paper, I think, probably. Although it's sort of not quite a slick paper. It has a sort of thin feel, but it doesn't feel like newsprint exactly. This first story is kind of funny. It's sort of a dream sequence thing where, for some reason, Veronica and her dad are going to Iran, which is kind of odd that they would be going there. I guess for business, maybe. Who knows? So, anyway, so she starts having this Arabian Nights type dream, and it's pretty funny, and of course, kind of predictable too. And then you have the original ads in here, and I kind of like how they don't have things saying no longer valid or anything like that. They kind of, I guess, recognize that these are for collectors who just want to get a facsimile. And there's an interesting editor's notebook here about the Archie Comics newspaper strip. Writing to your newspaper to get it in the strip. I'm not sure if the Archie Comics newspaper strip is still being distributed in newspapers or not. I think it might be. Don't know for sure. And then here's a thing about subscription page about Sonic the Hedgehog debuting. Order now to start your subscription with issue number 1 of the regular monthly series. I think Sonic may have debuted first with a mini-series, and then this was the ongoing series, number 1, which was really long-running. It lasted for, like, over 10 years, I think. And now it's currently published by IDW. And is on, like, issue number 78 or something like that. They started over from number 1. So Sonic is kind of a collectible character, too. Some people just buy the Sonic comics. Now, this is also interesting here. Here's the statement of ownership that was in the original issue. And I can't even read all that fine print without my magnifying glass, but you might be able to see it better than I can on this screen. But it shows here that... let's see if I can find it. Total number of copies printed. So it's like 152,000 or whatever is the total number of copies printed. And then it says paid circulation. Is that 35,000? So there's a lot of wasted copies. Returns from news agents. So there's a thing of like how many copies are returned, and something like 90,000 or whatever. So, and that's every month. So there is sort of this romanticism. I've mentioned that probably in a previous video, definitely in previous posts of mine on the internet, that there's this romanticism among comics fans about, if only comic shops got back into drugstores and supermarkets and 7-Elevens, then they would be more popular with kids and stuff, and people would see them. Well, true, people would probably see them, but would they buy them? That's the point. I mean, these comics were, on sale in 1993. I was like 22 by this point when this came out, but I didn't buy it, and most copies, the majority of the copies, over 50% of the copies, were destroyed. The retailer, to get credit for it, I think they would tear off the cover, or they tear off the logo and then just send that back, and then the rest is supposed to be pitched. Some unscrupulous retailers would then just sell the coverless copies of these, bag them up and stuff. And I remember that happening too. You would get like a bag full of coverless comics at a liquor store for super cheap. But anyways, it does show that the newsstand. I mean, that still happens with paperback books too. By the way, right now, here's a little secret of the industry. if you go and look at any mass market paperback book at Walmart or your local CVS or wherever, and there's a little triangle with an S on it on the back cover or on the like front inside cover, and that means it's a strippable publication. So the vendor will simply tear off the cover, send that back for credit, and the um, coverless paperback books are then pitched. So it's a very wasteful thing, I hate to think of books being destroyed like that, but that's how the system works. So that's what would happen to these comic books, and that's to me that's why the comic shop system, as imperfect as it is, as sort of I don't know, exclusive in a sense as it is really a better system for getting comic books safely into the hands of readers who really want them, rather than just having them, pulped, unsold copies thrown out. Anyway, there's some funny more stuff here. There's a subscription page that is set up like a school thing. There's this other funny story here about this guy searching for coins. I don't want to ruin the endings of these. And these great, vintage ads from 1993. This one was interesting. That it was a two-parter, but usually I would think the two-parters are at the beginning of the comic. But this one was at the end, which was a funny shopping story. Then there was the Archie Club News, which was really cool. It was introducing Jughead's, I think his baby sister there. A thing about the Archie Club fan club, which I don't think is around anymore, and so on. Like I said, I don't want to spoil all the endings in case you want to buy the comic. And then here's the thing about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie adaptation. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3. And again, there was like a newsstand edition and a prestige edition for the comic shop market, which cost more. And then a video game ad. Oh, and here's another problem. Well, my fingers got smudged on the... this has happened before because of the quality of the paper. Sometimes as you're reading it, I didn't even notice this now, my fingers smudged the ink. Which has also happened on a DC comic that I got, a facsimile, I think it was of the Teen Titans, where after I was done reading it, I was like, my finger marks were on the back cover. So you practically have to have gloves to read it, or make sure your fingers don't have any moisture on them. So that's that. This is the Veronica number 28 facsimile edition that comes out September 25th. $3.99, the price of a current comic. I enjoyed it, not only for the the stories, which were fun, classic Archie, but because of the vintage ads too. It's kind of funny to think of 1993 as vintage, but that was over 30 years ago now. So in a way it is, they are at least nostalgic. Let's put it that way. Yes. Nostalgic ads. So, anyways, I enjoyed it. I'm glad Archie's doing this. They're doing a issue of Betty coming up next, I think. And the Jughead facsimile from like 1961, that was supposed to come out in October, but that has been delayed or postponed. So hopefully that goes back on the schedule. But that one is not coming out in October as originally planned, which is too bad. I look forward to that one because that would be the oldest one they've printed so far. Anyways, that's it. Thanks for watching.